What is going on, guys? This is the clickbait-free version of the Xbox 2. You like that, Jez? I am your host, Randolph Floor 19, the man with the million lies. I mean, the man with the million million lies is just somebody, some sad individual made up about me. He loves to taunt me, but yeah, you made it when you got haters, right? And with me is my co-host, as always, the intrepid Jez Corden of Windows Central. What's going on, man?
I don't even know what intrepid means. I hope it's
you better look that up.
I probably should know what it means, given that I'm a professional writer. But yeah, I'm pretty good, man. Pretty good, Working all day, every day, forever, without a break. You know it is. Possibly.
I do. I do recall working all day without a break. But hey, I mean, you get to write about video games, though. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, can't complain. Can't complain. But the main thing is, The Long Dark just came out. So you've pried me away from it to do this podcast. So I resent you.
Yeah, so just to give a rundown, we got a lot of topics to discuss before, during the show. We got the Xbox and Taco Bell. Hold on to your butts, people. We're going to be talking about that. We got Cliffy B and Lawbreakers, if Xbox is really missing out, and the fact that he just doesn't believe that the Xbox One X is that easy to port to. We're going to talk about all that. Assassin's Creed in 4K, true 4K, whatever that full 4K. There's some info that came out, and Jez specifically wants to talk about that because Ubisoft might have lied to his face at E3.
There you go, clickbaiting again.
This is not in the title; it's not clickbait. And a whole bunch of other things as well. We got a lot to talk about, but first, I'm going to talk about some gaming. What have you been playing, Jez? What has Jez been up to?
Well, I've been playing lots of games because there are too many games launching all at once, and I can't take it. So I've been playing Fortnite, which I think we talked about last time. I've been playing Path of Exile Beta, which is very good, very solid, even though it's a beta. And also I've been playing The Long Dark Wintermute story mode, which is finally here after 2 years, an Xbox game preview. I saw a funny meme on Reddit where it was like, The Long Dark is the first early access survival game to ever launch, which I don't think is true, but it is funny how like almost every survival game in history is early access recently. But yeah, that's what I've been playing, man. What have you been playing?
I just posted my review for Tacoma today.
Oh, that's another game I need to play. I haven't even installed it, man. It's so busy.
So I played that. I've been playing Sundered on the PS4. What else? Well, yeah, Tacoma is a pretty interesting game. It's a walking simulator, a narrative adventure from the Gone Home. But instead of an abandoned house, you're in a space station. So it's very sci-fi. And at the core of the game is this like rewind play mechanic. You'll see like recordings of the people who are on the space station, and you can fast forward, pause to try to like listen to the conversations, kind of get the story and what's going on. It's a very short game. It's 2 hours. As these games
is 2 hours?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
You could literally beat that game, and this isn't clickbait. I think you could literally beat that game in half an hour. I mean, you skip everything, which is, kind of against the whole purpose of playing the game in the first place. Yeah. But yeah, it wouldn't take very long. But also playing I've been playing Sundered on the PS4, which is really cool. I should have a review up sometime later this week. I just need to get more time to be able to play it. And I also played Lawbreakers over the weekend in the open beta. Yeah. So, so there was the thing about that the beta participation was really low, like 40% less than last time on the PC. It's looking like the game's not going to do very well on the PC. It looks like it's going to be Battleborn on the PC. Maybe it does better on the PlayStation. I don't know. It is fun, though. I will say that. It is fun. I played with some friends. It's just, here's the thing that my issue with, not even really my issue, but one of the things, it's generic. It is completely generic in a way Overwatch isn't. Like, Overwatch is unique. It has colorful characters. You can see a character from across the battlefield, know who it is, knows what their supers are, right? It's got that. Yeah. It's just a very, very unique and colorful game where, like,
and I tell you, one other thing about Overwatch that is often understated is the nuance, man. Like the way the different characters' abilities interact, and you know, like smart teams can really, really screw over the enemy team by, you know, with all that interaction and nuance, and using the maps. Like a skilled player can really pull off some amazing stuff in that game. But from what I've heard, Lawbreakers doesn't have stuff like that. I don't know if you
I mean it doesn't. It does it so the whole thing is it's like has the anti-gravity section in the middle of the map, or you know, where a lot of congestion takes place, so you can kind of fly around and stuff. And the time to kill, I like the game. I think it would do well on Xbox if it came, but to me, the thing is, it's like it reminds me of like the 90s and like they say cringy lines. The game doesn't really stand out in any way. Like, I don't care for any of the character designs. I don't care for any of the map designs. And, you know, when you look at it on PC, like, I think PUBG is taking a bunch of wins out of its sales. Like, I don't know if people want more arena shooters. It seems people on PC at least want more of these battle arena games. I don't know. Maybe it does better on PlayStation.
Battlegrounds is just destroying everything, man.
It is
squashing everything, breaking records left, right, and center. I can't believe how that game's blown up just out of nowhere. No marketing, just crazy, man. Absolutely crazy.
I talked to somebody who told me that he expects PUBG to be bigger than any game shown at this past E3.
No, I agree. I think so as well.
You think about that, you're like, you know what? It's at what, 6 million in 4 months or whatever it is already. You know, it's the highest, most played concurrent game on Steam outside of the Valve games. I mean, we're talking some impressive numbers, and it hasn't even come to console yet. So
it's nuts, man. Absolutely nuts. And if I was Xbox and I was like looking where to allocate a budget for like a third-party marketing deal, I think I would have picked Battlegrounds over Lawbreakers. I'm no expert, but I think if that was the choice, that was a pretty good decision.
Right. Well, you know, we'll talk about Lawbreakers and you know, if Xbox is missing out along with all the stuff later. So yeah, that's what we've been playing. I should make mention that if you want your topic heard, you can always tip us through Super Chat. It is open, and we'll read your topic right away. It's a good way to you know, help the channel out. And there's always the tip donation in the description as well if you want to support the channel. But anyways, let's move on, Jez. I want to talk about clickbait for a second here.
Everything. Sorry, go on.
So you did some clickbait over the weekend, sir. And
really?
I wanted to call you up. Oh, I saw the responses and the replies to you. People were upset about your Crash Bandicoot clickbait article, Jezerino.
What clickbait article? I just reported on facts, man.
They called it clickbait, did they not? You know what I'm talking about, right?
I know what you're talking about, yeah. Basically, people who don't know what clickbait means said it was clickbait.
That's right. So you wrote an article. I did a video. Supposedly, Crash Bandicoot, which wouldn't really be a surprise, is coming to Xbox sometime soon, right? There's a video up of the UI designer with Xbox prompts, and you made an article like, it's coming to Xbox, baby. You know, you put a whole bunch of maybes in your article, but you got blasted pretty good for that one.
Yeah, I did. People were pretty mad about that.
And people are upset about a fluffy. What'd you say? People are upset about a fluffy Bandicoot or something? Go get help.
If people are upset about a fluffy, childish Bandicoot going away from their preferred console, they need therapy. And I stand by that comment. If you're a grown-ass man and the thought of Crash Bandicoot not being exclusive to PlayStation upsets you, get some fucking therapy.
Therapy.
But seriously, it's like, I've seen a huge amount of commentary on this, and it's like, why would they bother making art assets for the Xbox controller if there was no plans to bring it to Xbox. Second of all, if it was a true PlayStation exclusive, given how well Crash Bandicoot is doing in the charts, Sony would be screaming it from the rooftops. And I think it was Mr. Negative who said that. And he's completely right. That Sony would be screaming it from the rooftops if this was a permanent exclusive. So, you know, and my job is to bring interesting news to my audience. And judging by the clicks on that article, people thought it was pretty interesting news. All I said was this could maybe indicate that Xbox is getting the Crash Bandicoot game. I don't know if it is, but the evidence looks stacked. I don't know what you think, Rand. Do you think the evidence looks stacked? I think the evidence looks stacked. And I don't personally care either way because it's not my kind of game. It's a cartoon Bandicoot. He doesn't have a chainsaw. You can't saw people in half. It's not my kind of game, man.
I agree. I have no interest in Crash Bandicoot. I played the first one. I played even some of the ones in the 360. I really don't care, but for some reason, people do care. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. Their nostalgia is alive and well. It's selling extremely well, but it doesn't say exclusive on the box. Sony's never really called an exclusive. Activision called an exclusive. All the signs are there for this being a timed partnership, whether Activision... I mean, in all reality, Sony more than likely paid for this time partnership because Activision's all about that cash money. So probably going to come out on Xbox later in the year, and I don't care about it. I won't play it. I don't know about you. Well, you just said you don't care about it. There's other games to play. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. People flipping out over Crash Bandicoot. Anytime anybody mentions that anywhere on the internet, people get upset.
It's so weird, man. But it's like, it's the nostalgia thing. It's a hell of a drug, man. Because in the UK, I mean, people were surprised that Crash Bandicoot's like dominating the UK charts. And I think that's because Crash Bandicoot was bundled with all PlayStation 1s here. I had Crash Bandicoot on my PlayStation 1 when I got a PlayStation 1. And, you know, I don't have a great deal of nostalgia for it because even then I was more into games like Resident Evil, you know. But it's a beloved franchise, which is fair enough, but it's just not exclusive because Sony sold the rights or something. I don't know. I don't know. I don't care either. I don't really care. Do you care? I don't care about Crash Bandicoot.
No, I just thought it was funny because I did that video about not doing clickbait anymore, and even listen to this. So I did the video, Jez, my Lawbreakers impressions, right? I literally called it Lawbreakers PS4 Pro beta impressions or beta thoughts, and then I said, "Is Xbox missing out?" And I had people in the comments say that was clickbait. Like, in what? I don't get it. Like, people just don't get the definition. I would assume, or don't they think everything is clickbait or whatever? But either way,
nowadays people just say clickbait when it's an article they don't like. Clickbait literally means I don't like this. It's clickbait. Sometimes it means clickbait for real, where it's like you post a video saying, "Oh my God, you won't believe what happened next," or "You won't believe what this person said," and then the opening comment is, "So actually, this isn't such a big deal," or something, you know, and that's clickbait. When the title doesn't deliver on the content, that is the definition of clickbait, you know. So me and you saying there is a rumor that Crash might come to Xbox One, that's not clickbait. There is a rumor that Crash might come to Xbox One, and you offer the facts. You give a little bit of analysis, and maybes, speculation. There you go.
There you go, indeed. Anyways, I just wanted to talk about that for a little bit. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us. I know it's early in the afternoon as we do this show on Wednesdays. 150 watching. Really appreciate it. 4 dislikes already. Man, we got some hate. We had a dislike before we started, Jazz. Before we even started.
That's the guy I told to get therapy, probably.
Probably.
He didn't take my advice.
No, I'm gonna go show Jazz. He upset my Bandicoot. My Bandicoot. Oh man. But let's get into some of the. Jazz, I have one question to ask you.
Go on.
Do you like Doritos?
Do I like what?
Do you like tacos?
I don't know if I've ever had a taco yet. Was it a taco or burrito?
But I thought
I can't remember.
I mean, I thought you come to E3 and have a taco. Wasn't that kind of the whole thing?
Well, is a taco that sort of little thing that you can hold in your hand? Like you don't even need a knife and fork to eat it.
No, definitely no knife and fork.
Okay, I think I had tacos at E3. I don't know. I think I did.
Well, you know, if you like tacos and you like Xbox, you may like this next promotion they have going on. So, Taco Bell and Microsoft are teaming up to give away free Xbox One X. Well, not free, but for $5. You can potentially get the chance to win an Xbox One X early, because that's what it said in the thing. A winner every 10 minutes. And this kind of seems to be starting off the kickoff of the advertising portion of the Xbox One X. What do you think about all this stuff? Are you just kind of like, this is just what it is? They need to partner with somebody? Or
I don't care, man. It's just one of those marketing deals. They did it with Mountain Dew. They've done it with Doritos, and that's where the whole Doritos Mountain Dew meme comes from. It's from Microsoft partnering up with them. It's just a marketing deal, man. Every side does it. It's no big deal. The thing that annoys me is that Taco Bell is not in the UK as per usual. So this is a more US centric marketing. But if you eat a lot of Taco Bell, you might just accidentally get an Xbox out of it, I guess. I don't know why this is even controversial. I see some people mocking Microsoft about it, and it's just like, it's probably really good marketing. It's like the Surface thing with the NFL. Every time someone watches NFL, they see a Surface. Every time someone goes into Taco Bell, they'll see an Xbox One X, even if it's just on the little advert saying you might win an Xbox One X. It's just marketing, man. Just marketing.
Just marketing.
And people complain. I see like Xbox fanboys complain that Microsoft doesn't market Xbox hard enough, and like they start marketing it, and then people bitch that it's no, we don't like that kind of marketing. We want different marketing, and it's like, I'm too busy playing games. I don't worry about Taco Bell.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting because Sony had the Taco Bell partnership this gen. I mean, they partnered up. I figured Microsoft would partner up with somebody, but a lot of people seem to be upset that this is going on. They feel that Taco Bell has betrayed Sony in some manner.
Really?
Really? Them in the back. Yeah.
So now it's no longer console wars. Now it's Taco Wars. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Clearly, this is what happened. Clearly, Taco Bell had some positive data on their marketing campaign with PlayStation. Clearly, and they probably went to Microsoft and said, "Look at all this positive data we've got about PlayStation. Our marketing deal with PlayStation. We want to do the same again, but we want more money, and you guys have more money, so give us more money." And that's the end, But it's like Orbital says, it's the ultimate betrayal, the Taco betrayal.
It is. And you know what? I'm gonna try my hand. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go to Taco Bell, and I'm gonna buy a box, and I'm gonna use that code to try to win me a system, and I'm gonna throw that food in the garbage where it belongs.
Dude, that's just a waste.
Maybe I'll give it to a homeless person, but like I'll pay the $5 to get a chance to win and not eat the food. You know what I mean?
Is the food bad? What is Taco Bell like? I want to hear from you, and I want to hear from people in the chat. As an ignorant Brit, what is Taco Bell like?
All right, well, let's see. How many people have had issues with Taco Bell food in the past? Let's see how many people say it in chat. Like, I don't eat Taco Bell. I haven't had it in a long time because I had a really, really bad experience where I got food poisoning from Taco Bell. And I don't care for it. I mean, it looks like we have a few people in there that saying that it's amazing. Someone says it's trash. Giggles, Heron Gigs, the Gigs. She can't believe it because I think she loves Taco Bell.
Is Taco Bell like dirty, greasy, unhealthy kind of food?
Oh, dude, I mean, of course it is. It's fast food. Most fast food is dirty, greasy. I mean, the meat is I mean, like, if you consider, like, sprinkled on chopped up lettuce, like, vegetables.
Yeah, maybe gross.
I mean,
okay, pass.
Yeah, it's not exactly the best food for you. But I got incredibly sick one time after eating there. I mean incredibly sick. So I don't eat their food. But did you see the tweet that was going around? Well, I know you saw it because you DM'd it to me. Sometimes you got to watch what you say because your words might get around.
Aaron Greenberg trolling about Taco Bell, and then Adam Boyes trolling Aaron Greenberg about trolling Taco Bell. Yeah, I thought that was funny.
It is funny. So for those of you unaware,
I was hoping Aaron Greenberg would respond and they'd go back and forth, but alas, it was not to be. Aaron Greenberg's on vacation. Oh, did he? Oh, I didn't see. What did he say?
He did respond. He responded saying that he was jealous of that, and he wanted to work with Taco Bell. But it's funny because there's an article that was like, hey, you know, you can get early Xbox One, but no Taco Bell needed or whatever. And then it was like, hey, we're partnering with Taco Bell. It's like it's a case study for, you know, watch what you say because you never know.
It was really funny, man. It's yeah, I don't know. It's just all fun and games, isn't it? And some people get really offended when Aaron Greenberg tweets like edgy things, and it's like, why do we all have to be so sensitive about console war jokes? You know, if people weren't so overly sensitive about their console choices, it wouldn't be controversial to make jokes like that. You know, like I've been writing a bunch of Minecraft content this week because the Minecraft Better Together update is going live on Windows 10 and Xbox One next week, which will bring crossplay to virtually every platform in existence except for PlayStation. And in every single article I've written about the Better Together update, I've written something like, this won't be coming to PlayStation because Sony hates its customers, you know, just joking around. And some people get really offended by that, you know? So why? These are companies, they don't care about you. Why get offended on their behalf, you know? It's just silly console war stuff. I wish everyone just chill and try and remember that these are just plastic boxes for our entertainment. And Taco Bell is just food.
It needs to be fought, Jazz. There needs to be winners and losers and casualties on both sides.
Like the Star Wars, like the South Park episode.
Yeah,
that was a great episode.
It's funny. I mean, you know, I don't really care who they partner with. I mean, I kind of thought this would happen, but it's interesting that a lot of people were like, Taco Bell, come on, and all that stuff. So, yeah, there's really not much really to say about it. I want to
try. I want to try Taco Bell. I'm sad that I can't get in on this. And it sounds like if I try and get someone to post me some Taco Bell from America, by the time it gets to Germany, it'll be like a sort of pool of mutated slime in the bottom of the box by the sounds of what you guys are saying. So I'm sad. I need to go to America just to have Taco Bell. Maybe someone at Microsoft can hook me up. If you're watching, guys, get me some Taco Bell.
Taco Bell
I'll review it.
But yeah, so I don't know why people you know, are well, I know why, because it's the console war. People always gotta, you know, build things up to tear them down and stuff. Interesting promotion, but I'm gonna try to win. You want to know why? Not necessarily because, you know, obviously it's a free system, but mostly GameStop's paying for my system anyways. But because of the idea of getting one early, Jez, that seems really appealing to be able to get one maybe a week ahead of everybody else, maybe 2 weeks, and it comes with a copy of Forza Motorsport 7 and 3 months of Game Pass. Is that a potential sign of a bundle, perhaps, when pre-orders go live? Do you think maybe? I mean, 3 months of Game Pass seems kind of interesting to throw in.
I think Microsoft, they're going to push this Game Pass stuff really hard towards the end of the year. I mean, for people who are coming into the ecosystem, that's incredible. That's an incredible amount of value. And we all know Microsoft loves subscription services. Like, they've got me locked into Groove, Office 365, OneDrive Premium, well, which is Office 365, and Xbox Live. You know, they've got me locked into all those 3 subscriptions. So for someone who is starting off their journey into the Xbox ecosystem, a 3-month pass of Game Pass is like an amazing deal. And how many games are there now? It's over 100, right? If I remember right.
I believe 114 now because they've added 7, or they've added 7 for the last 2 months. So they had 7 games every month. So there's like 114.
And like, if you're new to this gen, which not a lot of people are at this point probably, but if you're new to the gen, there's some really quality games in there. Like, you got Halo 5, you got Limbo, and there's quite a lot of good stuff in there. Gears of War, Mad Max,
I mean,
Infinite.
Especially with the idea of you could go there and not have an Xbox One, like someone who doesn't have any games, buy the system, drop $10 and have access to a whole bunch of games. It's interesting, but you tweeted out something interesting. You said, "Get ready, Xbox fam," or "Get your wallet out ready, Xbox fam," or something like that. We tweeted out the day before.
I had to ask Reddit to take that tweet down because I didn't tweet that for any particular reason. I was just like, man, we're getting because I was tweeting earlier in the day about Christmas. I was like, yeah, wow, it's like 140 days till Christmas. And it's like, oh wow, it's like really soon we'll be pre-ordering Xboxes. So that's why I tweeted that. I have no inside knowledge about when the Xbox pre-orders are going to go live. It was just one of those things,
But they were sourcing you on NeoGAF and all these other places. Like, Jazz knows.
God, I deleted the tweet now. I think he got like 140 likes, and I realized it's just I can't. I didn't even mean for this to be a thing. I'm just excited. I'm just ready. I got paid that week, and I set aside some money to buy Xbox One X. Set aside a bit of money to save up towards my 4K TV because I still don't have one. But yeah, I don't know.
So, if you had to guess, we're in August. We got Gamescom coming out this year, or the end of this month, rather. The rumors are swirling that pre-orders are opening up this week. Do you think we'll get pre-order info this week, or do you think Microsoft's just going to wait for Gamescom where there's more attention on it?
Xbox PR seems particularly slammed at the minute because their response times are usually really good, but they seem to be busier than usual. So it could be that they're just getting ready for Gamescom, but their Gamescom presence doesn't seem to be as big as it was in previous years. So they could be getting ready for something else, something pre-order shaped. I don't know. That is pure speculation. I have no insider knowledge on this whatsoever. I don't know when the pre-orders are going to go live. But yeah, it's not going to be long. It's not going to be much longer now. We're talking weeks, not months at this point.
Yeah, I think it's definitely this month. It could be this week. I mean, although I'm not sure. I don't know if you'd rather do that stuff on a Monday or whatever. We're already at Wednesday and we haven't heard anything.
They want to do it around payday, right? So
maybe they do it on Friday. I don't know, or I don't know. Maybe they do it soon. But also, like you said, they've been very active. We have the promotion with Taco Bell, which we just talked about, and 3 new controllers. Yay, new controllers! 3 of them.
It's really funny as well that people get triggered by the controller stuff. Microsoft have a modular assembly line for building those controllers. It's very easy for them to deploy a design for a controller because of the way they've got the assembly line set up. That's why they've got the design lab. It's all set up to be like we can apply, unique colors and designs very, very easily. So that's why they're churning the controllers out. Compared to I don't know if you saw the PlayStation 2 Destiny controller.
But the difference between the Xbox controllers and the PlayStation controllers are night and day. Like that Destiny 2 controller is an affront on the man. It is a travesty. There's gonna some logos on it and call it a day. Get out of here with that. Now
it's like when you're a little kid and you just put stickers on things. That's what that controller looks like. It looks like just a total afterthought. Random gold stickers stuck to that thing. It's embarrassing. I would just it offends my eyes.
Yeah.
Have some respect, Sony. Make better controllers.
I like some of the look of the controllers. I'm not gonna. I did a video and one of my infamous videos. So I said my piece about the controllers. I ain't gonna reiterate them. I do like 2 of them. I like that green gray one, the minimalist design of it. I think it looks really good. I like that volcanic ash one as well. And I do need a new controller, Jazz. The thing is, I run through a controller every 6 months at least by how much I game.
Controller.
What?
Are you talking about Xbox or PlayStation controller now? Yeah, my
you Jazz. No, my Xbox controller, the one I got with the S, is worn out. Like, it's got drift. I need a new one. I thought maybe I could hold out for the X and get a new controller with that. I don't think I can make it, dude. I don't think I can make it. I need a new controller.
I had the day one edition Xbox controller with the little day one marking on it in the middle. My girlfriend dropped it and the triggers fell off. So I buy a new one. They're not very drop proof, at least not when they're dropped from a significant height onto a wood flooring.
Right. So I think if I were to buy one, I think I'll get that green gray one. Although I do like the Recon Tech the most, the one that came out, the one I made that video about so long ago, or what seems like so long ago. I need a new controller, so I'm probably going to get one of those. So yeah, like you said, big week for Xbox. Now, I just saw this breaking on Twitter, Jazz. I wanted to get your thoughts on this. Take-Two, they do Grand Theft Auto and all that stuff. They had their conference call and their earnings report today or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that June and July were the 2 biggest months ever for Grand Theft Auto Online monthly active users.
Wow.
This is a game that came out in 2013, Jez. And they just posted that it's 2 biggest months ever. What is going on, dude?
I don't know. I just don't understand the appeal of GTA Online. I've tried playing it a couple of times, and it's just like you run around, do random stuff. Is there a really goal? I don't understand it at all. It's one of my blind spots, like Roblox. I don't know what that is either. It's like a blind spot. I don't understand why GTA Online is so popular. Maybe people in the chat can shed some light on this. But every time I play it, it's just random carnage.
Someone says monthly active users don't mean shit, but that's not true, because not only is it their biggest ever for monthly active users, but they're also biggest revenue for the online portion too. So more users
means everything. It means everything.
Yeah. But dude, this is a 4-year-old game, and every single month it's top in MPD. Like, this info that they don't really talk about that much. Like this, more and more people are playing Grand Theft Auto Online. This is a 4-year, and they've talked about how Grand Theft Auto Online, how well it did, which surprised them, is going to impact their future games. Because obviously, I mean, they're going to have some multiplayer component to, Red Dead Redemption 2, and then eventually Grand Theft Auto 6. I mean, do they even have to make a Grand Theft Auto 6? I mean,
they will. Rockstar, for how ridiculous GTA Online has been with the micropayments and all that stuff, they still care about making really high quality games, and we'll see that in Red Dead Redemption 2. I am pretty convinced Red Dead Redemption 2 will absolutely blow everyone away, just because Rockstar have a reputation to maintain, and they truly care about their games, and they have creative control in the way Hideo Kojima used to have creative control, where he could just go away and make all these games, because he had a proven track record until he fell out with Konami, that is. And Rockstar have a proven track record of printing money for 2K games, so they're not going to interfere on Rockstar making the next big thing. They're not going to interfere at all. So I've got huge expectations for Red Dead Redemption 2, and everyone else will.
This game is the reason why all these publishers chase after games as a service, by the way.
I just want to say something, right? I've heard something about Rockstar that they might be releasing the game sometime towards the end of 2017. So just remember that I said that, in case it happens.
Are you talking about the Midnight Club remaster?
No, I'm not talking about Midnight Club. I'm talking about something else. Just remember that I've said this. Because if it happens, I'll be like, damn, I should have posted that.
We'll have to have one of those images that leaked of an Xbox version of the original Midnight Club. It looks like it's getting remade. It's definitely not backwards compatible, because it has the Xbox One prompts, and it's got like current cars in it and stuff. So it kind of seems like, I don't know, maybe they're bringing back Midnight Club. Remake of some kind, which I saw that on Reddit, by the way.
I never played Midnight Club. I've never been into racing games, really. Like the last racing game that I really properly cared about, was Destruction Derby 2 on the PS1. Great game. Great game.
That
But
it kind of seems a little late to get into the racing genre right now. Like Forza's dominant. Gran Turismo's coming back, for their first game in 6 years. I mean, Ubisoft has The Crew 2. You got EA with Need for Speed. I mean, Midnight Club is taking a break. I mean, the race?
As long as it has some kind of gimmick. I mean, if Forza Motorsport is the quintessential racing sim, and Forza Horizon is like the quintessential arcade, racing game, neither of them really have a gimmick, I would say. They're sort of like the standard bearers, whereas like, other racing games could come in and have a gimmick, so that sort of make them fun in their own right. So I don't think it's too late to get into the racing game. It's not like it's not like Forza has completely cornered the whole market of racing games.
Okay, fair enough. They also said that NBA 2K17 sold 8.5 million units, and it's Take-Two's best-selling sports game to date. So yeah, I mean 2K is bigger than freaking Madden now, and I never thought I'd see the day that would happen. Like I always thought Madden would be bigger, but NBA. So 2K is doing good. So let's talk about Cliffy B, Jazz, shall we? I mentioned Lawbreakers earlier.
Oh, Cliffy B.
Lawbreakers earlier. I think it's a fun game. I played it with my friends. I definitely would play it if it came to Xbox. $30 I seem to be a good price for what is essentially just a multiplayer only shooter. I'm not a fan of some of the design choices. I think it's generic looking and it's kind of cringy with some of the dialogue. It's got that 90s feel, right? Doesn't really seem like to be much interest on the PC. Now, that's kind of the Lawbreaker issue. And my question to you was, and it's a question I answered in my own video, is Xbox missing out by not having the game?
Well, I mean, just on the basis of literal words, yeah, it is. I mean, obviously, in a perfect world, Xbox would like to have every game that comes out hit their console, but these marketing deals happen, and at the end of the day, it's money that determined which platform Lawbreakers was going to go to first. But at the end of the day, do I think where Xbox is missing out in terms of, is it going to hurt Xbox? I don't think so. I think Lawbreakers will come and go, maybe not as hard as Battleborn did. But the thing is, the media is already comparing Lawbreakers to Battleborn, which ain't good. It's not good, man. So the simple fact that it's already being put in the same category as Battleborn, and someone earlier said Lawbreakers is nothing like Overwatch, but that's the problem though. It's a perception thing. People perceive it as being like Overwatch, and because people perceive it as being like Overwatch, it'll be compared to Overwatch, and if it's not as good as Overwatch, it'll die by that virtue. And it's the same thing as Battleborn. Battleborn played nothing like Overwatch. Battleborn was more like a true MOBA with creeps running around and pushing people backwards and forwards and defending your NPCs and that sort of thing. It was more like a true MOBA, but the problem was it looked superficially similar to Overwatch. It played superficially similar to Overwatch, as in you had heroes that had ultimates and all that sort of stuff. And it was 30 frames per second at launch. I believe it's been buffed to 60 now, but it was 30 frames at launch, so it was uglier than Overwatch on that basis. The humor wasn't as good as Overwatch. The character delivery wasn't as strong as Overwatch. But basically, Battleborn failed in every way when compared to Overwatch. And if Lawbreakers falls into that same trap where it's getting compared to Overwatch, it's not going to win. And unfortunately, they haven't worked hard enough to show why there's any differentiation between Lawbreakers and Overwatch. And I think it's going to be a problem, and it'll be a problem for Quake Champions as well, because that's another similar sort of hero-based game that's coming out from Bethesda soon. Or I think it's already out in beta on PC, isn't it? Quake Champions. I don't know.
I think so.
but we'll see.
So I answered in my video, and someone said it was a cop-out. But like I answered, yes, Xbox is missing out, but also no, that they're not. Yes, in the sense that you obviously want as many games come to your platform as possible, right? It's never a good thing to give your competitor, a de facto exclusive like Nier Automata or Neo or Lawbreakers. Like you want those games to come to your platform so your user base can play those games and you can make money off of that, right? So it's bad in that regard. They're missing out on that one. But if you take Lawbreakers specifically, I don't think they are, because like I said, in my opinion, I was going to say that, my opinion, Lawbreakers is just generic. It would do well on Xbox because it is a first-person shooter and those games sell well on the system. But Lawbreakers doesn't do enough to stand out from the crowded genre. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it came out, everybody would still be playing Rainbow and Overwatch and Grand Theft Auto, all the other games as a service games that make up the top 20 or 30 on PSN and Xbox. Lawbreakers wouldn't make a dent. People would probably play it for a couple weeks and then move on. So that's why I think they're not really missing out. However, if it came down between a choice between Lawbreakers and PUBG is a game that will sell consoles. PUBG is a game that is a phenomenon, right?
It is, yeah. If Microsoft have a deal in place where they can say this is the only place you can play PUBG on console, if they market that with the Xbox One X, it's going to be a big deal, because people are going to be like, oh, I've heard of this game, but I don't want to get into the whole building a PC thing. I don't want to pay for an expensive gaming laptop. I'll just get an Xbox One or an Xbox One X and play it there. I'll be able to get in on this phenomenon, which everyone's talking about. I'll be able to get in on that. So I agree. I do think PUBG will potentially sell systems.
Right. And just a reminder for everybody in chat, be cordial to one another. You can talk about whatever, but if you use any sort of derogatory terms, especially with the words fag in them, you will get banned, or I will time you out. And if you do it again, I will ban you. So be careful of what you say. Now, with that said, Cliffy B is also in the news because he doesn't believe, or he's not necessarily, is he calling other developers liars? Because somebody, he said, hey, we chose to bring Lawbreakers to Steam and PS4, and it was a business decision, right? They couldn't do 3. And someone asked, but hey, I thought you can get your game up running on Xbox One X really fast, blah, 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 blah. And he said that whoever said that is full of it. And then he's gone on to even say when the Killing Floor devs, because there was that whole controversy, which we haven't even touched on, people lost their minds when Killing Floor was, 1800p on the Xbox One X, And people were upset about that. They said they had their game running on Xbox One X in 4 hours. We've seen the Path of Exile devs, which game they said they had their game up running on X in a couple hours. Turn 10 had one guy do it in 1 day. The Gears people had it done. I mean, there's even the Mordor people had their game up and running really fast. You have all these different, devs saying it is that fast. So is Cliff lying, or understanding what Cliffy's saying? What do you think?
I think it's just a bit of a hyperbole from Cliffy B. I mean, for him to sit there and say that it's all PR speak and that those devs, basically when Cliffy B says PR speak, that's PR speak for those devs are lying. He didn't want to come out and say those devs are liars because that'd be beef, So he used the PR speak of saying it was PR speak, so he didn't have to call them a liar. But that's exactly what he's fucking doing. He's calling them a liar, right? Whether they've been paid off to say nice things about the Xbox One X dev kit, because Microsoft have put a lot of emphasis on developers with the Xbox One X. They did that whole expose with Eurogamer, going through all the specs. They were very upfront and they've been very public. And I've watched all the GDC sessions about the Xbox One X as well. And there's been a huge push to really ram home the idea that developing for the Xbox One X is going to be super easy. You know, it's going to be like, we got super fast deployment. You know, we've got really high speed Ethernet ports, and we've got dedicated everything to, you know, SSD for faster load times, and they've got the whole thing where they can make the Xbox One X scale to different hardware levels. Like the Xbox One X can sort of mimic Xbox One environment. It can mimic a more high-end PC environment as well. And they've put a lot of emphasis on getting developers on board. Now, basically what Cliffy B is saying, that either he's saying that they are liars, that they are literally lying, you know, to suck up to Microsoft, or he's saying that they've been paid by Microsoft to say those things. And I think both scenarios are just bullshit, you know. I think some devs won't be able to port their games to Xbox One X in 4 hours, and clearly Cliffy B is one of them, you know. So either he's salty about Xbox, and I'm sure he's salty about Xbox because he gets a lot of hate on a daily basis from Xbox fanboys who are salty about lawbreakers choosing PC, and Cliffy B likes provoking them, which is something that I do sometimes. You know, so he just can't help it sometimes. So, you know, there's a lot of salt going around. It's basically the salt there. There's a bit of salt here. There's a bit of salt over there. And I think it's a bit of salt, man. I think that's where it's salt. That's where it's coming from. I think
Buddy Boy says something interesting. Again, running is not the same as playable. So that's the other thing I wanted to kind of touch on, is maybe Cliffy's like talking about something else other than that, because the devs, like even the Killing Floor says they got the base Xbox One version, they did that game, and then they got that game running on Xbox One X in a couple hours. And most of those interviews, if you read, they all talk about taking their Xbox One version game and getting it on the X really fast. Now, from what I understand, like you still got to, obviously you got to make, if Lawbreakers were to come to Xbox, right, you'd have to make an Xbox One version.
Well, even
so
then,
maybe that's the version that
the devs didn't say. Sorry to interrupt you, but I disagree with this, because the devs didn't say we got the whole game ready for publication in 4 hours. They just said they got the game running in 4 hours. That doesn't mean they've properly leveraged the Xbox API and all the different features, you know, like achievements and setting up with Xbox Live and all that stuff. They didn't say that. All they said was they got it running. That's not PR speak, you know. That's just words, you know. So what Cliffy B's now saying is that these developers have to over-clarify all their statements now. I don't get it. It's just salt, man. I'm sorry. It's all salt. Salt. Salt there, bit of salt here. It's salt.
Jazz is going on record and saying it's salt. It's nothing but salt. Okay, I mean,
big pillar of salt. You know?
I mean, we have a large collection of first-party devs and third-party devs that don't have deals with Microsoft. You know, with the ones that do, saying the opposite. I'm just kind of curious, like, you know, because Twitter's only 140 characters, as we know. So it's kind of hard to get a full sense of what he really means. I'm sure if like he talked about it in a speech or wrote, you know, a few paragraphs about it, we'd obviously know more about his thoughts. But I thought that was interesting, because everybody who essentially worked with the X is saying, "Hey, it's super fast." I mean, all the developers are basically saying that. Now, maybe making the game for the One itself, like not the X, is the one that takes a lot of time. But I don't know, man. I don't know about this whole Cliffy B stuff. It kind of does a little bit. It does kind of seem about like a marriage that went south. Someone that was really, I mean, because don't forget, like Cliffy B was integral to the success of the 360. He was one of the reasons that it had 512 megabytes of RAM, if I'm not mistaken, instead of 256. Remember, he said Gears needed that. Gears was a phenomenon. Basically revolutionized third-person shooters on consoles. One of the reasons why the 360 did so well. And then they had a falling out afterwards. I mean, I don't know what happened, but clearly he doesn't, you know, have any, you know, there's no love lost between them and Xbox. So it's kind of interesting to kind of talk about now, Jez. This is going to be an interesting next discussion point. So we got rid of the Lawbreaker stuff, the Cliffy B thing. Assassin's Creed 4K. This is right up your alley. So there was some new info that came out that said, hey, Assassin's Creed runs in 4K or full 4K, whatever the heck they're calling it, and that it's like dynamic. But the system is so powerful or something that it never goes below 4K. I don't really understand what they're talking about, but you've talked to these devs.
They're talking about dynamic resolution, right? So
okay.
At E3, Ubisoft it was a lead developer or lead producer or something. I can't remember his name because I'm an amateur, I should have got his name. But he told me that the difference is, he told me that he uses dynamic scaling on Xbox One and PS4 Pro. And so I said, so will the Xbox One X version of Assassin's Creed look better than the PS4 Pro version? And he said to me the differences will be imperceptible. Now, I remember him saying specifically imperceptible because I had to double check how it was spelt when I quoted him. He said imperceptible. Now, whether that's just because they were imperceptible at the time and that the Assassin's Creed Origins has now been improved, to make better use of the Xbox One X's overhead. Because let's be honest, the Xbox One X is just more powerful than PS4 Pro. That is a fact. That is a mathematical fact that no one can dispute or deny. But what isn't a fact is whether or not developers will leverage that in such a way that the games look different across both consoles. Now, I'm sure Eurogamer will do their analysis on the PS4 Pro version and the Xbox One X version, and they'll show that resolution dips are more frequent on the PS4 Pro version than the Xbox One X version. And basically what Ubisoft is saying is that the Xbox One X version is so powerful that the dynamic resolution never drops below 4K. But you could also say that's because they're not adding better effects and they're not adding better textures for the Xbox One X version. And basically it's just the PS4 Pro version, exactly the same game, but the dynamic scaling will ensure that it remains at 4K more often. That's all it means, So it's about whether or not you can perceive dynamic scaling. Now, I think like if you play other Ubisoft games like The Division, for example, The Division uses dynamic scaling as well. That's an example of a change-resilient game, and it was developed in close partnership with Xbox. And I imagine the Division is probably going to be one of those games that does see some sort of... Is it confirmed that Division is going to get an Xbox One X version?
Or just not that I know of. Just Ghost Recon. I don't even think For Honor is confirmed to get one. I think it was just Ghost Recon.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's all the same, similar sort of tech, And the Stealth Master Z, Digital Foundry is owned by Eurogamer, so that's where that came from. But it's all the same tech. So in theory, if a game is change resilient, that's what they call it. They call it change resilience. Is when a game is developed with higher resolution in mind in the future. So if a game has dynamic scaling, in theory, it can be unlocked to go all the way up to 4K. So maybe the Division can be unlocked to go all the way up to 4K using, change resilient dynamic scaling. And consider the Division was developed in close partnership with Xbox, and it was because, I don't know if you remember, but back when the Division was first announced, they had a companion app built specifically for Surface in the Division. They scrapped it, sadly, but the game was being built with Surface integration in mind. And not a lot of people remember this, but that was a thing that was happening. So the Division probably will get this as well. But the thing is, it's like, will that extra overhead get used? And that's what my article was really questioning, is whether if the Xbox One X version is hitting 4K all the time because of dynamic resolution, does that mean there's overhead going to waste? That's what my article was about, really. Is like, if the differences are imperceptible, as Ubisoft told me, whether true or not, is their overhead not being used? And that made me wonder, like, about other games. Is their overhead not going to be used in other multiplats? Obviously, games like Shadow of War, they will, because they've got a marketing deal with Xbox, you can expect them to be demonstrably better on Xbox One X because they've got a marketing deal in place. Is Xbox going to have to pay for people to actually use the Xbox One X overhead? Or is the only thing we're going to get really is that the 4K resolution will be more frequent on dynamic scaling games? So,
you just said something really interesting there. So, like you said, Shadow of War is going to be demonstrably better on the X because
that's what I assume. That's what I assume. I don't know if it is.
Like the other side would be then any marketing game that has a deal with Sony would be, they would be paying them not to make it as good as possible. Would be the counter to that, right?
But the thing is, that's for Sony to do that, it's a little bit more obvious, isn't it? If a game looks literally identical on PS4 Pro and Xbox One X, and it's 4K on both systems, and the Eurogamer, the Digital Foundry analysis shows that the games are identical, that means there's Xbox One X overhead not being used. So while I don't think we'll ever see a scenario where the Xbox One X version looks worse, it does make you wonder, like, how much of an improvement we're actually going to see in real terms with the Xbox One X. You know, and this is for people who care about that stuff. I don't care whether a game looks better on PS4 Pro or Xbox One X because I'm locked into the Xbox One X ecosystem, as a lot of Xbox fans are. And if you're locked into the ecosystem, I don't know why you'd be so worried about what a game looks like on the other system, because you're still going to get a great experience regardless, you know. But for people who do really care and get upset about this stuff and get triggered by pixels, then that's where the conversation will go. You know, that's where the console wars will be at next. That's where the arguments will be. That's where the salt will be, is like in whether the Xbox One X's overhead is actually being utilized by these big multi-plat games. So,
and if it's not one thing, it's another thing, right?
Huh?
If it's not one thing, it's another thing with these guys, you know?
Yeah, exactly. If it wasn't this, it'd be something else random, you know? There's always got to be some point of contention because that's marketing, you know. It's console war marketing. And if I was Sony, I wouldn't be surprised if Sony, you know, says stuff like the differences are imperceptible, you know, or markets that way and gets aggressive, because the PlayStation 5 is at least 2 years away, right? I would say.
I would say minimum 2 years away, like
minimum 2 years. Yeah.
I don't think there's any chance it comes out next year. 2019 seems to be the earliest it could come out. And then who knows? Maybe they wait till 2020. 2020, I believe, is the 25th anniversary of PlayStation. Would be like a good year to launch something like that. And then, of course, you'll have, you know, the next Xbox, I would assume. I'm just kind of worried also that we're just going to get leapfrogging systems, essentially. You know?
Well, yeah, that's what it is. I mean, that's Microsoft have been kind of smart by, like, instead of going head to head with PlayStation every few years, they've sort of turned it into a leapfrog system where it's more the ecosystem matters more than the box now. So it's kind of like, okay, PlayStation fans now, they have to sit there and accept the fact that their highest end system is inferior to Xbox's highest end system. And Xbox fans will have this when the PS5 comes out. The PS5 will be more powerful than the Xbox One X in some way. And but the thing is, it won't matter, because what will matter more is the ecosystem and how locked in you are to that ecosystem. I have, you know, 400 digital games on Xbox One. So there's practically nothing Sony could do to get me to switch system right now. Maybe they could get me to buy a PlayStation to pick up a couple of exclusive here and there. But the thing is, that's not what Sony wants. Sony wants me to be locked into their ecosystem. Sony wants me to be buying multi-plats on their ecosystem, which is never going to happen now. It's never, ever going to happen for me. I will never, ever ditch my Xbox library because it's just too damn big. So that's why it didn't matter for Microsoft to skip last year and leapfrog. That's why it didn't matter, because now we're in an ecosystem war.
That's what she said. It's just too damn big. It's too damn big. You know, it's funny.
Xbox is so damn big. I just can't even handle it without loads of pain.
I actually looked at my all my games on my Xbox One games on my console yesterday, and I have 900.
900, but how many of those are Barbie games?
Here we go with the Barbie stuff. I swear, Jez just hates me with the Barbie shenanigans and stuff like that. Ugh, Jez. Also I wanted to touch on this. I want to get your thoughts on it. I did a video about it, but the Ubisoft CEO says some very, very positive things about Xbox One X. I don't know, maybe you saw my video or not, but he said that the Xbox One X will help grow the industry, right? And he's excited for it because they made a powerful system and they're using the power of the Xbox One X with Assassin's Creed Origins. And he said that he's happy because they've gotten away from the Kinect, which nobody wanted, and that they went with power, so that means better AI, better graphics, and better games. And he says that when those things happen, when you get all those things to make games better, the better the experience, that more people want it. And that will help grow the industry. Now, I kind of took the opposite approach, because when I think of grow the industry, I think of like bringing in people who don't care about video games to play video games. Like, that's how I think you grow the industry, because in my honest opinion, and I know I'm going to get a little pushback on this, I don't think the Xbox One X, at least initially, is going to sell to anybody but Xbox fans. It's not going to grow the Xbox user base because it's going to sell to the same people who already have Xboxes. You know what I mean? Same thing with the PS4 Pro. I think the Pro just sells to PlayStation fans. They don't make any new fans or people who wouldn't play video games in the way that maybe the Wii did and maybe the Switch did. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, but that's the thing again. It's like, does Microsoft really honestly care about growing the platform right now? Or do they just care about monetizing what they've already got? And by all accounts, even though the Xbox One user base is growing slower than PlayStation, Microsoft constantly posts, revenue increases, increases in engagement and people buying digital games. That's where Microsoft are focusing their efforts, is monetizing the tens of millions of people that are already on there. That's billions of dollars, man. Billions and billions of dollars. Microsoft do not care about console war chest beating. They don't sit up at night worrying about PlayStation. They're all millionaires at the end of the day.
Right. We're talking about like Ubisoft's perspective. This is the CEO of Ubisoft. He says it'll help grow the industry. I was trying to understand his point of view, because to me, growing the industry is bringing in people who don't play video games. Whereas he's saying it's going to grow it because the more powerful the system, the better the experience the game will be, and because it's better, people will want to buy it. That was this whole argument.
I don't know about that stuff. I don't think casuals know what 4K is. If he's talking about getting people who are playing Ubisoft mobile games to switch over to console gaming, I don't think anything could make that happen. My girlfriend, for example, she's surrounded by Xbox 24/7 because it's my job. I talk about Xbox all day. She sees me play games all day. We've got two Xboxes in the house. She's got access to like infinite amount of games, but she's just not into games. She doesn't care about games. I can't force her to care about games. I've tried. She likes Trolls Fusion. That's it. That is the only game she likes.
Trolls Fusion?
Yeah, which is ironically a Ubisoft game. So, and she's bought DLC as well. So maybe Ubisoft these onto something. But, I think for the industry to grow, there needs to be there needs to be more ways to experience games, which is why they're making bets on VR, right? And they're not making bets on VR for hardcore gamers. They're making bets on VR for people who aren't into games yet, little kids who grow up where VR is the norm, and that's how you grow the industry, is new paradigms, which is why they tried it with Kinect, and yeah, it didn't work, but
it did work, but then it didn't work. I mean, it worked brilliantly on the 360. I mean, Kinect was one of the reasons why it helped propel the 360 to 90 million sold. Like, it worked, and then it just didn't work because Microsoft decided to focus on it exclusively for their next system. I mean, it worked. You can't deny that. I mean, it did sell incredibly well.
So did the Wii, you know, but the Wii didn't become the Wii sold a ridiculous amount of consoles, but it didn't become the standard, you know. It didn't become the standard because it wasn't actually good. So, and it's like,
I'm sure there's Nintendo fans that are like, really, Jazz? It's not good?
The Wii sucks. It was garbage. Sorry, but them's the facts. And it sold a lot of units, but if it was good, it would be the standard now. The Xbox One X would have motion controllers instead of a regular controller. So would the PlayStation. You know, it didn't become a standard. You know, and we'd have a Wii 2 and not a Nintendo Switch. You know, and so that's them's the facts, man. And on that basis, but that's the thing. The Wii did bring in tons of new people who weren't into gaming, like you know, people who bought it for Wii Fit, like moms and stuff like that. And it was fun for the whole family almost. And Pokemon Go even had that effect. You know, I see like parents playing Pokemon Go with their kids and stuff, and that's like augmented reality, and that's like a new paradigm. It's kind of like hardcore games with a controller on console. It's almost like a social perception that a specific type of person plays those games, and that they are inaccessible to people like my girlfriend, you know, or like your parents or something like that. But when a new paradigm shift comes along, like imagine if they can mainstream VR, imagine if they can mainstream mixed reality or augmented reality and stuff like that. That might be a way to literally grow the player base by allowing these consoles to have more types of functionality. And I think that's kind of where Sony have screwed up with PSVR, because they've tried to make PSVR appeal to the hardcore gamer, which is the wrong thing to do, because the hardcore gamer doesn't care about VR. They're happy with what they've got now. What they should have done is they should have tried to make PSVR appeal to people who aren't typically into buying consoles, which is kind of like what the Wii did, you know. But I don't think 4K will have that effect either, in the same sense where it's like, I don't think 4K is as big of a leap as it might seem, you know. I mean, I played a lot of 4K games at E3 on quality 4K screens, and for me, it's not life-changing. I don't know if you've played any 4K games, right?
Well, okay, so I have the Xbox One S, and I do have a 4K TV, and that system does upscale.
It's 4K. Not the same.
I know, but here's the thing. I noticed immediately. I noticed when I switched back and forth. That's the thing. Like, when I played Destiny, and then I played Destiny on the S, I could immediately tell how much better the game looked, even upscaled. Like, it looked.
You shouldn't, because there's no extra pixels in upscale. All upscaled is that the image is stretched. That's all it is. There's no there's no extra pixels when you upscale an image.
But I've literally turned, like, I'll be playing Ghost Recon, I'll turn off the 4K and play it, and then turn back to 4K, and it looks better. Like,
are you sure that's not HDR?
Well, no, because Destiny doesn't have HDR.
Well, Rand, if you think upscaled 4K looks amazing, true 4K will blow your mind. It'll absolutely blow your mind.
I'm not saying it looks amazing. I'm just saying there is a noticeable difference. Like, I could never tell the difference between 720p and 1080p. I would have to see them side by side to notice. Like, when people were like, Star Wars Battlefront 720p, I was just like, okay, it looks good to me. I couldn't really tell the difference between the two. But trust me, I can see the difference between 1080p and 4K.
Well, that might just be features of your TV, maybe. Well, because TVs have the smooth. They do the smoothing stuff at 4K, don't they? I don't know.
I watched E3 press conference, Microsoft's E3 press conference on Mixer. I watched it. 4K because I didn't want to get any lag, and then I rewatched it in 4K because they broadcast it in 4K, and holy shit, it looks way better. So I don't know. I mean, I have trouble seeing 720p to 1080. Like I could, and what I mean by that is like I could be playing a game and I couldn't tell you the resolution. That's all I'm saying. Like,
see, that's so strange to me, because I can actually tell when an image isn't full 1080p just by looking at it.
I don't. Tell. I mean, but like I could tell just looking at something. I could definitely tell the difference between 1080p and 4K. When I play a game, I couldn't tell you what resolution it was running at. I don't know, but I could tell you what frame rate it's running at. You know what I mean? Like
some people perceive things differently. You know, some people, you know, I've been at E3 before, and I've been sitting there with the dev or a marketing person, and I've said to them, "So, what frame rate are you guys targeting?" And they're like, they can't tell the frame rate of the games are sometimes. Some people just can't. Some people perceive things differently, and I think like unless you're pointed out what you're meant to look for when you tell the differences between resolutions and frame rates, maybe it's like less obvious. But you know, I played Assassin's Creed Origins in 4K HDR at E3, and it was absolutely stunning. It was so beautiful, and it kind of felt like the generational leap that I was expecting from 360 to Xbox One. I didn't feel like 360 to Xbox One was that big of a leap at launch, even though Rise looked incredible and stuff like that. Rise was like a special case. Most of the games didn't look that much better to me, better than Halo 4 and a GTA, which launched at the end of the gen, and they were using the latest Xbox 360 SDKs, and they used all the tricks and, you know, to get the absolute most they could out of 360. And Halo 4 and GTA 5 looked absolutely stunning on the 360. And I feel like when we leapt to the Xbox One and the PS4, the difference wasn't that big. But when I saw Assassin's Creed Origins in 4K, it was like, you know, it was just absolutely incredible. It was absolutely incredible. But again, it doesn't enhance the gameplay for me, you know.
But you just said it blew your mind.
It blew my mind, but it was like, when you get used to it, it's just like, oh, now it's just a video game, you know? And what the Ubisoft, just to bring it all the way back around, what Ubisoft was saying was 4K will grow the industry because people will be impressed by the picture quality and stuff. Maybe they will, you know, maybe like they'll see a game in 4K and be impressed with it in a way that they weren't with a 1080p game. But I don't see why, personally, you know? But I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
So someone said, you know, because some people can't believe I can't tell the difference between 720p and 1080. It's not that I can't tell a difference, is that when I'm playing a game, I just couldn't tell you the native resolution, right? But, however, someone also then said, I bet, you know, Rand couldn't tell the difference between 480p and 720p. Trust me, I could see the fucking difference between, 480 and 720. Here's how I first got my first HD system, right? So I had a 360. I had an old, CRT TV, right? That obviously can only do 480i or 480p or whatever the heck it was, and it was 2007. My buddy, my TV, I forget what the reason is, but for whatever reason, my buddy brought over his like 20-inch 720p computer monitor, and we were gonna play Call of Duty Modern Warfare game. The beta was out, and he wanted to play it, and I was in the beta, right? So he came over. He plugged in. We plugged the system into his computer monitor, and my mind was freaking blown away. Like, as soon as it booted up, and I saw the 360 dashboard in 720p, I was like, "This is amazing." And then I started playing the game. And I'm like, "Oh my!" Because I had already played Call of Duty the day before in 480. And then I played it in 720, and I was like, holy shit. That next day, I went to Walmart and bought a 720p TV. That very next day.
I remember jumping to 720 from 480. That felt like a big leap as well. Especially because like all the other TVs in my house were like 480, and I had a 720 DVD combo LCD monitor. Very strange LG display. But That was a big leap.
Yeah, it was. And then the first time I got this 4K TV, hooked it up to the S, I immediately noticed a jump in quality on the dashboard. And in certain games, not all games, like Destiny, looked better. And then I turned off the 4K. I mean, it definitely looked better. Now, some games didn't, like Rainbow Six Siege doesn't look any better, but games that like have like a wider color gamut seem to be improved the most. But yeah, I am really interested in trying out a game in native 4K. I think Last of Us Remastered was in native 4K. There was a choice between playing that on the Pro or 60 frames, and I kind of switched between both of them. Sometimes I would play in 4K, and then for the combat, I played in 60 frames. But the game looked amazing. So yeah, I am looking forward to finally seeing a game made, native 4K, native 4K. I just can't wait for the X.
But the thing is, right? What you've got to remember is, I have to see people talking about this. It's like, oh, I don't want 4K. I want 1080p, 60 frames per second. It's almost like, you can guarantee anyone saying that doesn't have a 4K TV. Anyone saying that they prefer 1080 60 doesn't have a 4K TV. And I mean, since when have we collectively decided that 1080p is enough? That's never happened in the history of time, where we've just decided that technology needn't advance anymore. 1080p is enough. That's just a ridiculous notion. But the thing is, it's not just going to be about just raw resolution, right? It's also going to be about what you can do with the Xbox One X's power. And I'll probably post this on Twitter later. But one of the clips from GDC they showed was, and basically what they were saying was, you needn't use all this power just to boost resolution. It was like, look at this. We've used the Xbox One X's power to create this amazing realistic splash of water. And they basically showed like a glass of water falling over, and then like this really complicated physics, realistic water splashing all over a table that requires higher processing power to accomplish. So it's not just going to be like, okay, initially it's just going to be resolution bumps, improvements to lighting, and like easy things that they can just bump. But as we move towards a time where the Xbox One itself gets depreciated and the Xbox One X becomes a standard, because that'll happen eventually, where 1080p gets really, really out of date. We'll start seeing things like animation get more complicated. We'll start seeing textures get more detailed. I remember this one demo that Square Enix put out around the launch of Final Fantasy 15. It might have been a bit before. I think they called it the Witch demo, and what it was they were showing how detailed they could make characters in their Final Fantasy 15 engine if they had the processing power. And I think they had 4 graphics cards in the stack, like two times SLI or something like that, GTX 1080 Ti's and stuff. I don't know, but they had a beastly rig with liquid cooling to power these graphics, and they basically rendered a witch that looked real, And you always see these tech demos from like Unreal, Epic Games, and they're like, look what we can do if we had enough processing power. That's what we're working towards, and we get so caught up in the console war and the resolution debate, when really what the conversation should be about is the Xbox One X technology is amazing. It's incredible that they've made a 4K box at that price point, and that's what it's all about, is getting this technology into as many consumers' hands as possible as we march towards an age where photorealistic graphics will be the norm. It might not happen in 10 years, it might be 15 years, but these things have to be baby steps, Eventually, we'll have laptops that power full 4K gaming that are super thin and have quad-core processors, So like a laptop with a quad-core processor today is still really, really chunky, but that won't always be the case. Technology marches on, and the Xbox One X represents a technological leap that other consoles don't. So as a guy who's into tech, that's what excites me. I don't really care about the graphics. It's just like the way the industry marches on, and how developers utilize the power to do things other resolution. That should be what the exciting thing is. I think. I might
I'm
be
just
wrong.
I'm just excited to play games, man.
Yeah, Wolfenstein 2, man. I'm all over
Oh my
that.
god! You know, I was someone asked me what my most anticipated game for the fall is, and I was like, you know, listing them. I gotta say, Wolfenstein is probably my most anticipated game for the fall. Like, I am incredibly excited for that, and I have that dilemma we talked about before. Do I play it day one because I am so excited, or do I wait for the X to come out and play it in 4K HDR on that system? Like, I'm pumped for that game.
Say it's annoying for me because I'm gonna have to review a lot of these games. So I'll be, if I want to play them in 4K, I'll have to go back to them afterwards. But yeah, I mean, Rand, what are the games? What are the top 3 games you're most excited for 2017?
Top 3 that we know of. Wolfenstein would be number 1, for sure. Like, I cannot wait for that game. Let's see. Damn, I have to like think of a list here. I'm trying to think what else is even coming out. Like, we're talking like games that like I would play. Oh, South Park game. That'd
Is
be
that
probably
correct?
my number 2. Yeah, October.
Oh,
South
nice.
Park.
That's
I
been
love the
like
first game.
hell. Hasn't it?
I love the first game, dude. I
Still
and
never
I
played.
and I can't wait to play that again. So we got Wolfenstein and we have South Park. And honestly, after that, unless I'm blanking on something, I'm gonna say Star Wars Battlefront 2 because of the campaign. I'm a big Star Wars fan. We saw what like Respawn did with Titanfall campaign, so like I'm really excited to play a campaign from the Empire's perspective.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's really interesting.
but like, you know, interested in playing, you know, Call of Duty World War II. Um, I'm interested in playing Crackdown 3. But there's some games that you know, even the new Uncharted that comes out this month. Well, that's this month. Shadow of War also is would probably be my number 4. Uh, if I had to like make a list, but yeah, those are probably the top 3. But there's a lot of good games coming out for this holiday.
Yep, that definitely is.
What about you? What games are you? What is your top 3?
Well, first of all, we want to hear in the chat as well. Chat, if you're listening, tell us the game that you're most hyped for 2017 onwards. But yeah, for me, Wolfenstein's really up there, definitely. Also, The Evil Within. I was a big fan of the original, although I need to go back and replay it so I can refresh my memory of the story because it is pretty confusing. So I'm pretty excited for that. You know, I'm interested in for the first time in a long time. I'm interested in Call of Duty. I want to see, because you know they took a bit of a beating over. It was still a massive success story, obviously, but they took quite a beating over Infinite Warfare. So I want to see if World War II peps them up a bit. And also, I just like the saying. I just prefer that saying for shooters, I guess. Beyond that, I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure. What else is coming out?
You
What else is coming out?
that comes out in September. You have an Act 2 that comes out in September. You have Motorsport 7. You got Crackdown 3. You got Super Lucky's Tale. You got Gran Turismo 7 or 6. Gran Turismo Sport. You have Wolfenstein Evil Within from Bethesda.
Cuphead.
Cuphead. Well, I mean,
Totally
yeah,
forgot
that's September. You know, EA's putting out Star Wars Battlefront, Need for Speed Payback. Activision's putting out Call of Duty. You got Assassin's Creed as well as South Park from Ubisoft. And I'm sure maybe there'll be some indies too, but usually they tend to avoid those months because they get drowned out from all the other games. I think there's well, you know, we do have a AAA game coming out in a couple weeks. We got the Agents of Mayhem game. It doesn't really
Agents of
seem to be,
Mayhem.
yeah, the Saints Row people. Well, yeah, I mean that game's kind of been flying under the radar. Nobody really seems to to know much about it. Well, they've been doing a lot. I don't think there's much interest in Agents of Mayhem, to be honest with you. So
what is it exactly? It's from the Saints Row devs. I remember.
Yeah, pretty much. It's kind of Saints Row. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I love Saints Row, but like I look at like Agents of Mayhem, and I'm just really not that interested. I'm probably still going to get it because I like playing video games, but I'm not hyped like I was for Saints Row 4 or Saints Row 3. You know,
video games are a good thing. Oh yeah, and Shadow of War. I don't know if I got that. The thing is, I forget sometimes. I just forget about games that I know are going to be good. It's like I don't even need to like worry about them or research them. It's like, yeah, I know that game's going to be amazing. I just forget about it until it launches. I kind of feel like Shadow of War certainly fits that. I think Shadow of War is going to be amazing.
Since we're more than halfway into the year, what would be your game of the year right now?
What would be my game of the year right now? Prey, hands down, Prey.
Prey.
I know a lot of people didn't like Prey, but it was just like it was like my perfect game. It was like it was almost as if the devs came to my house and said to me, "What kind of game do you want?" And then they made my personal perfect game. You know, I loved everything about that game except it got annoying towards the end where you had to you know, there was loads of loading screens. So that was obviously annoying. But other than that, it was just like it was my perfect game.
Prey is good. I thought the game was great too, but we differ on the combat aspect. I loved everything else about that game. I'm not surprised you gave it to Prey, even though you've been talking up Long Dark recently.
Well, I've just started the Long Dark story mode, so maybe Long Dark will supersede it. But there's just so much to Prey. Like I just loved exploring Prey's world. I loved all the little secrets, the nuance. I love the combat as well. I mean, a lot of people don't like the combat and still I think they're trying to play it like Doom. But if you play it like on hardcore and you play it like a stealth game, then that's when it really shines. And you know, you set up your traps and you feel really, really clever. You know. When there's like a room with like 5 really hard monsters that there's just no way you could take head on, and then you like distract one, set up a trap for one, and then you pull off your plan. It just feels so good. Kind of like it was kind of like the Deus Ex game that I really wanted out of Humor of Mankind Divided that I didn't get.
Right.
Mankind Divided was a huge disappointment for me.
And before I kind of talk about what I think is the best game so far this year, we have 236 people watching. Thank you so much. But only 94 likes. Hit that like button. Show your support for the podcast and the channel. We really appreciate it, me and Jez. And Jez has been working on the SoundCloud stuff too. So that'll be... We should be live on iTunes and RSS feeds by next week. I'm going to commit to that time frame. There we go. So, because I was thinking about this because we are halfway through, and you might laugh. There's a couple games here that really, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, yeah, okay, I love it. Like Edith Finch. What Remains of Edith Finch?
I knew you were going to say that.
Probably number 1 right now, right? And I have a fight over my number 2. Honestly, I can't decide right now if it's Resident Evil 7 or Rime.
Rime?
Yeah.
Really? So, what platform did you play Rime on? Because I couldn't.
What platform do you think I played Rime on?
I don't know with you.
I played it on Xbox.
You flip flop so much that I just can't keep up.
Excuse me, sir. Dude, we have people we have people hating on you for liking Prey or loving Prey.
Well, they're idiots, you know.
Look, I like the exploration of Prey. It reminded me a lot of like BioShock. The combat just wasn't any good. If the combat was good in Prey, it would be game of the year because everything else about that game.
God, I keep dying in the Long Dark.
I know, but Resident Evil 7, people forget about that game. Came out in January. That game is awesome.
Yeah, Resident Evil 7, at least for me, Resident Evil 7 deserves an honorable mention. I think, did you see Capcom's financials where they said Resident Evil 7 didn't sell on target? I was so disappointed in that. But I think, like, the thing with Resident Evil 7, it's kind of, thing with Resident Evil 7 though, it's kind of like Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Assassin's Creed Syndicate was a great game, but it sold really poorly because people had bad memories of Assassin's Creed Unity, which is a broken mess. And I kind of feel like with Resident Evil 7, it suffered from how bad Resident Evil 6 and 5 were. So that's what I think anyway. I don't know what you think.
However, now this is gonna, well, Capcom has trouble selling their games. Resident Evil 7 hasn't met their mark yet. Street Fighter 5 didn't meet their mark. Dead Rising 4 didn't meet, its mark. They have problems selling their games for whatever reason. I mean, Dead Rising 4 hasn't even crossed 1 million yet. That's pretty bad.
It's just boring.
And I just wanted to say, out of all the games I played this year, if I had to pick one for my favorite, it'd be Last of Us. Yes, Last of Us is the best game I played this year.
Why am I not surprised? Randall traitor.
Last of Us is everything I love about video games. I still haven't played it. So that's the problem with not owning a PlayStation 4. You don't get those exclusives, But the problem is I can't get a PlayStation 4 around. I can't get one. I know you can't. But I'm just saying,
because
out of all those games I played, I love What Remains of Edith Finch, Rime, Resident Evil 7, all those other games. Like, the game that kind of stuck with me so far this year is Last of Us, dude. Like, Last of Us is so even beyond the Uncharted games. I mean, I did the review and everything, but like, I honestly, if I could go back to 2013, because I think I gave Grand Theft Auto 5 my game of the year, or maybe it was BioShock Infinite, but that game would have been number one. And honestly, I played it this year. That game, I mean, still, like, that game is incredible. And I know, Xbox people or Xbox fans are listening to this, but like, Rand's gone pony again. That game just it touched me, man. I just
do you need someone to talk to about that?
No. But anyways, back to the Capcom stuff really fast. Are they in trouble, Jez? Like I said,
they posted. Overall, they did better though because of mobile or something. Like, their console business is suffering, but their other businesses aren't doing so badly. So I think overall it was a positive for Capcom, but and also they've fired a lot of people and streamlined their business and that sort of thing. But their console business is struggling. And the thing is, I think they've only got themselves to blame because they've neglected the Resident Evil franchise for so long and been so half-assed about it, frankly, that it's no wonder nobody took Resident Evil 7 that seriously, So I do think they need to make up a bit for that. Resident Evil 2 remake, I think, will sell ridiculous amounts if they can nail that properly and treat it right. And it's been a long time since we've heard about that, so I would hope that they are, working hard on that. But other than that, I don't know, man. I don't know. Capcom would be fine.
Hasn't even hit 1 million yet.
I think the Dead Rising franchise is probably dead.
Yeah, but even Street Fighter 5.
Well, Street Fighter 5 is, they launched it with no content. What do they expect?
Like, Capcom, what do you do? Like, Resident Evil 7, a game that is great, had fantastic reviews. I think they said it sold like 3.7 million, and its target was 4. It may not even get there. May not even get to 4, and like 6 sold like 7 million or whatever it was. So, like, is Capcom going to look like, yeah, we're going to do another Resident Evil, but we're going back to third person? Like, I'd be like, are you serious? Because Resident Evil 7 revitalized the franchise, in my opinion.
Yeah, it did. It's no doubt about it. I think even though maybe it didn't hit their internal projections, but I think they need to accept that they did so much damage with 5 and 6. And yeah, I enjoyed 5 overall, but it wasn't a Resident Evil game, man. It just wasn't a Resident Evil game. I played the hell out of Resident Evil 5 with my brother. We 100%ed it, got playing it on insane with it, infinite rocket launchers and all that sort of stuff. But the real issue is that they've really tarnished the brand. They've tarnished it so bad that not only the games, but like tons of terrible movies as well. What do they expect?
Well, those movies make money,
They make money, but they're terrible. They're terrible.
I know.
They are terrible.
I So maybe the last.
Resident Evil 2 remake will help boost it again. And if they do Resident Evil 8 as a direct sequel to 7, keep the perspective, but just sort of expand on everything. You know, make it a bit longer because it wasn't that long. I think they could revitalize the franchise.
You're just speak again because you're bonded just a little bit.
I was just saying, like, if they can now Resident Evil 2 remake and they treat Resident Evil 8 with respect, then I think they can revitalize it. That's what I said.
Cool. So one last topic before we end the show. So think of some questions, but Sony's raising the price of PS Plus in Europe to match the price of of what it is in US. So basically, PS Plus is the same price as Xbox Live now. Sony didn't give a reason. Do you think now there's rumors that they're combining PS Now with PS Plus? Do you think what's more likely? Do you think that they're going to change PS Plus, or do you think that it's just because they can get away with it because multiplayer?
They just know they can get away with it, man. PlayStation is absolutely crushing Xbox in Europe. Like if you come to Germany, for example, Xbox doesn't exist. It's barren. It's a wasteland for Xbox in Germany. There's passion. There are passionate fans here, but it's like everyone has PlayStation. Literally everyone. Everyone that I know in Germany has PlayStation, not an Xbox gamer. And if I even suggest Xbox to them, they look at me funny, like I'm a freak. PlayStation is such a staple in mainland Europe that they can get away with it. They can totally get away with it. So it's not going to be bundled with PlayStation Now. Anyone who thinks that is crazy. It's just Sony getting away with what they can get away with. You know, no one cares. No one's going to unsub because of this. No one. No,
not anybody. Well, okay. How long until Microsoft raises the prices of Live? Do you think? How long do you think until Microsoft raises the price of Live? I don't think they'll
ever raise the price of Live.
I think so.
Unless it's like a currency adjustment. I can see them raising the price of Live in the UK because of how much the value of the pound has crashed as the UK transitions to a third world country. So I wouldn't be surprised if they raise the price of it in the UK, and I wouldn't blame them. But other than that, I don't think they'll raise the price of it personally. I don't know. I can't see that.
I hope they change PS Plus. I actually do hope they actually make it better somehow, because I love competition between the two systems. Because if they suddenly changed it and gave people more things or changed stuff around, Microsoft would then be, forced to respond. I mean, that's how we have games with gold in the first place.
Well, I don't know. I mean, how can Xbox really improve things right now? I mean, they're working on a new dashboard.
Yeah. Well, they always do.
Fluent design, so that's going to be interesting. They're bringing features like plug and play USB devices, so you'll be able to use a regular webcam on your Xbox and stuff like that. There's loads of features coming, and like when you factor in, they're completely changing the way Windows works as well, by the way, and Xbox will enjoy benefits from that as well. But I mean, what competition does there need to be? Microsoft are just being Microsoft right now, and they're just delivering everything that they can. They look at user feedback, and they're giving us gifting. I don't think Microsoft really need competition to keep adding new features right now. But I would like to see. I mean, I said earlier that I could never get a PlayStation, right? And that's not because of being a fanboy or anything. I'll tell you why that is. It's because my PlayStation Network name is from about 15, 16 years ago, and it's really embarrassing. And I can't change my name on PSN, so that's why I don't.
But if
I could, that'd remove a barrier to me getting a PlayStation, definitely. Because I own games on that gamer tag, on that what do they call them? They don't call them gamer tags, do they?
I think they're
name?
PSN IDs, if I'm not mistaken.
PSN ID? I don't know. Well,
people just call them gamer tags. I don't know.
Well, that'd remove a barrier for me, at least.
It's not like you got a mad trophy score or anything.
Well, I don't think I've ever won a trophy in my life.
You ever won a trophy? You haven't even completed a game on the Xbox to 1,000, have you?
Nah, my closest is Mass Effect 1. My only achievement left to get in that is insane difficulty, which is pretty insane to do. But I just can't be bothered to do it. I should just complete a Telltale game, shouldn't I?
You should. I don't have a platinum on the PlayStation yet. Maybe I should get one. Maybe I should try to get a platinum or something.
Oh God, Rand's getting addicted to platinum.
No, I'm not. I don't care about trophies. I don't really even care that much about achievements anymore, to be honest with you. Once you got 1 million, what else is there? 2 million? I mean,
well,
whatever.
Couldn't you try and beat that dude? What was that guy? I can't remember. The guy who's got the most gamer score, and then he lost the most gamer score because, quote unquote, he was too busy sleeping with his girlfriend. He said.
I never wanted to be number one. That was never a goal that I had set forth. Why not? Because I don't care about it that way. I played whatever I wanted. Plus,
I'm disappointed.
Why are you disappointed?
Because I thought you wanted to be number one, man. I never wanted to be number one. They can Stallion can be number one. Smirnoff. I mean, they all do what they do. I never really cared. Never was a goal of mine. I had a goal. I met that goal, and that was it. I never made it a goal to be number one. You disappoint me.
I'm sorry. But anyways, we'll take a couple questions before we get out of here. So if anybody wants to shoot us a question, put it up in chat, and we will answer it before we get out of here.
Well, indeed.
Give us
questions, guys. Give us questions.
A million was like kind of it for me, like because it's like after that it's just like
I don't even have 100,000. I don't even know how you got 1 million. It's not like I don't play games all day every day. I just don't.
I play a lot of games, Jazz, and I complete a lot of games.
I don't know, man.
King Low says, should Xbox add platinum achievements? So that would be like you get an achievement for like a badge or something for completing it. I think they should. I think they should have some sort of badge for completing a game or something. You should get something. I think there's just some kind of internal discussion about what completing a game is, because on PlayStation it's the base trophies, and then any DLC that comes out after it is not included. But on Xbox, a completion is that plus whatever DLC comes out for it. So I think there's.
We have rare achievements, but they're kind of like pointless. You just get a little animation, but there's no like rare achievement counter or anything like that. Is there?
Maybe not yet. Maddie B says, when are you getting a Switch? Never.
Wait, you don't want a Switch? What are you?
I don't care,
boy. You don't want to get all the systems. If you don't get all systems, Ran, you're just a fanboy hater. That's what I've heard on the internet.
So someone says, Rand, you never cared about achievements, but you played Barbie. I did care about achievements at one point, like I said. Otherwise, I wouldn't have played it. I care more about games than I do achievements. And when you're trying to get as much gamer score as you possibly can, you got to play all the easy games that come out. And I've never played a Barbie game. This is Jazz just being Jazz as usual. He just
hang on. You said you played a Barbie game.
No. Oh, that's right. I did. Damn it.
Yeah, you did play a Barbie game.
Barbie's Puppy Rescue.
See, you don't even your mind blocks out the trauma of playing a Barbie game.
I know. I blocked out all the bad games I played.
We need more questions, guys. Come on.
How long did earning the 1 million achievements take? 10 years, I think.
Wow.
Any other questions you want to answer in here, Jazz? Are you for PS4? Yes. The game looks pretty cool. I will be getting that game.
Why do you need to click a link to view an Xbox picture on Twitter? I think they should make it like PS4 Switch. I think that's literally because it's an oversight. I don't think Microsoft want it to be that way. It's whoever decided it would be that way. It's just been that way ever since, and they haven't fixed it for whatever reason. I don't think it's that way by policy. It's just a screw up somewhere along the line. But it's going to be one of those things. it's going to be one of those things where it's like a priority thing. It's like, do we want to prioritize this or do we want to prioritize Xbox gifting? Obviously, they want to prioritize Xbox gifting because that's going to be a new revenue stream for them. Whereas the clicking pictures on Twitter thing is just the sort of quality of life thing. So I think it'll come, but don't expect it soon, I would say.
Brian says, do you think the Xbox One X will sell at launch and go to the miners on eBay?
Yes.
Oh, you think they're not going
to? I think they'll. Well, I don't know if it'll completely sell out, but I do. There will be scalpers on eBay. There always is, even if it doesn't.
Sure.
I'm not going to sit here and claim that it's going to completely sell out or there won't be enough stock and stuff like that. Microsoft generally don't struggle to stock their games like certain other their consoles like certain other companies, Nintendo. But so I don't think the Xbox One X will sell out, but I do think that some places might have short supplies and scalpers will step in to take advantage of that. I'm really annoyed right now, Rand, because I'm playing the long dark and I can't find any sticks and I'm going to freeze to death.
All right, so the last question we have from Endless Echo says, do you think the best place to play multiplayer is PS4? Because PS4 have exclusive bonus content for your party versus Xbox One graphics. Well, that is kind of what Sony's banking on, right? The fact that you'll buy Destiny and you'll buy Red Dead Redemption 2 and you'll buy Star Wars because they're offering more stuff in the game versus the better experience potentially on Xbox One. Honestly, here's my honest assessment. When it comes to games like multiplayer games, so Star Wars Battlefront and Destiny, the best place to play the game is where your friends are playing it.
Yeah, of course.
So if I don't necessarily think those exotic weapons or any of that stuff means much. And like we kind of said before, this podcast, 4K doesn't really matter. Are people that enthused by it and stuff outside of like the super hardcore? Like Jez said, the casuals, do they even know? So I think the best place to play is whatever your friends are playing at. If all your friends are on Xbox, that's where you will play it at. If all your friends are on PlayStation, that's where you'll play it at. What do you think, Jez?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's interesting because even though Sony has a much larger install base than Xbox, the game sales never reflect that install base. Because a lot of the people who pick up PlayStation have picked it up just because their friends have picked it up, and they have that market, the market of buying a console just because my friend has it. Whereas Xbox doesn't have that market. So the people who bought Xbox are often just people who've decided to buy Xbox of their own volition, and as such, what that translates to is that the games tend to sell relatively evenly in some cases, or at least they don't reflect the 3-to-1 ratio at least. So I don't think. I mean, didn't Destiny almost sell 1-to-1 ratio with Xbox One in America and the UK? I think it did.
I think it was a little more lopsided, obviously, in Europe, but
in the Anglo-centric markets, at least. I don't know, but yeah, I don't think the marketing stuff's going to stop Destiny sales on Xbox One.
What's funny? He says we didn't answer the question.
What was the question?
The question about who has the. Let me scroll up. Do you think the best place to play multiplayer is PS4 because of PS4's exclusive missions on third party versus Xbox One graphics? I think he's saying we didn't answer it, so I think he's like literally saying like we need to pick one or the other.
Well, I don't know. I just play it on Xbox because I don't have a PlayStation.
All right. Well, if for me, if friends aren't a factor. Right? If achievements aren't a factor, if my game library is not a factor, and it was strictly a choice of playing a game with more content or playing a game with better graphics, I'd probably play the game on the platform that has more content.
I think I just play on Xbox because that's where I play all my games.
Right. But anyways, that's it for the show, guys. Thanks for all the questions. Thanks for hanging out. We had like 250 watching almost for like 2 hours. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Follow Jez on Twitter. His link is in the description. Jez, what do you have going on the rest of the week? Any articles going up in Windows Central soon? Any more clickbait stuff?
Well, nothing too interesting at the moment. I'm digging through a couple of potential leaks, but I don't think anything will come of it. It's pretty dead out there at the minute. There's not really that much interesting happening over the summer. There never is. As far as what I'm writing a review of The Long Dark, but it's pretty much a foregone conclusion because I think the game's amazing. And if you're a fan of any form of survival game, you've probably purchased The Long Dark already. It's probably the best survival game on Xbox right now. Other than that, I don't know. I'm gonna write a bunch of HoloLens stuff next week. You know, I've got a game to review for HoloLens. It's like you remember that hologram game in Star Wars?
Yes,
I can't remember what it's called. Where they play it on the Millennium Falcon. It's the virtual reality. Yeah, there's a game like that for HoloLens now. Where you put the monsters on a virtual table and you know, play with them and stuff. So I'm gonna review that next week. That should be fun.
Yeah, so follow Jez on Twitter if you haven't already. Link is always in the description. Check out his articles on Windows Central. And as for me, you know what I got going on. Daily videos. If I find something interesting to talk about, Rand's in these spotlights. I have a bunch of those coming up. I will have one coming up for Mr. Shifty. Oh Sir, Insult Simulator, Sundered review from PlayStation 4, and I'm hoping to get the Uncharted 4 review done for like Monday or Tuesday next week. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and Jez. Jez has said that the podcast will be going up soon on SoundCloud and iTunes in the future. And as always, you know, hit the like button if you enjoyed the show. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Share it out with all your friends so more people can discover the awesomeness that is Rand and Jez. Anyways, guys, we will see you next week for another show on August 9th, episode number 20. Oh boy, we're almost getting a drinking age. And with that, we are out of here. Later.
Bye, guys.